Today, I want to give you guys an update about the books that I have been reading and I'm going to continue to be reading in May, as well as some ones that I want to pick up very soon here. And I also just want to give you guys like a general channel update as well, because there's a lot of things going on and I might start making channel update videos every month or so just to keep you guys updated. Anyways, first off, I want to talk about some books that I have been reading. Dune! After watching Dune Part 1 and Dune Part 2, I have felt so immersed in the Dune universe that I finally want to give the books a read. I don't know why I never really got into reading Dune. My experience with Dune is kind of weird. I grew up, I watched the 1984 adaptation, I watched the 2000 adaptation, but I think I was just too young at the time to really appreciate them. I was more so just into Star Wars, Doctor Who. I never really got into Dune too much. I did try reading the first book back in like grade 7 and it was just too dense for me at the time. I put it down to read something lighter. And that's pretty much my experience with Dune up to this point until I just watched the new adaptations, and now I am so excited to finally start my journey with Dune. And I've been listening to the audiobook version, which is so good, by the way. It's got a cast of characters, sound effects, all of that. Amazing audiobook. I like to read the physical book as I'm listening to the audiobook. I don't know why I do that with certain series. If it's a series that has a lot of like made up terms and words and stuff, I like to see how it looks visually and also hear how it's pronounced. So for series like Malazan or Dune, I like to listen to the audiobook and read the physical one as well. Does anybody else do that? Is that weird? I don't know, but I like to do it. Anyways, I'm really enjoying Dune, and reading it is also helping me kind of understand the parts of the movie adaptations that I didn't quite understand. And again, a shout out to one of my patrons who sent me this edition of Dune. I have had my eyes on this edition for a long time, so thank you so much. I love the blue sprayed edges, and it's just a beautiful edition. I'm almost finished with rereading Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson. I've been trying to go through all the Stormlight Archive books again before the 5th book drops this December. I am getting so hyped for it, and I've also been working on a script for my Words of Radiance in-depth summary. I want to put up all the Stormlight in-depth summaries before the 5th book comes out. So I'm planning on posting the Words of Radiance in-depth summary sometime in June, and yeah, I'm very excited for that because if you don't know, the summary videos that I make, they're very in-depth. I go like chapter by chapter summarizing the book. I point out any small Easter eggs or little clues and details as I'm summarizing it. If you missed my Way of Kings summary, then you should probably watch that before watching this one. That's one of my biggest priorities on the channel this year. I just want to make sure that I can get those Stormlight Archive summaries up before the 5th book drops, and it's gonna take a lot of work because those summaries, they take a lot of time to make, but I'm trying to do it faster this time around and still have the same consistent quality. That's a big goal for the channel. Also, with Words of Radiance this time, I decided to listen to the graphic audio versions, which if you don't know, graphic audio is different than just the usual audiobook. It has a full cast of characters, it has sound effects and music and everything, and it is truly so immersive. I'm enjoying going through Words of Radiance again so much. I feel like the voice actor they got for Shallan is perfect, and most of the other voices are perfect as well. Pattern is another standout. I love how the effect they did on his voice. I highly recommend checking out the graphic audio versions. I feel like especially on a reread, it's kind of good to listen to those because it just adds it feels like a different experience when you get all the sound effects and the music, and it just feels so immersive. I love it. And you know what? I'm just gonna say it. Words of Radiance is the best Stormlight Archive book. I feel like it gets the pacing right. It has so many great moments and memorable moments in it. I wasn't really the biggest fan of Rhythm of War though the first time I read it, so I'm interested to see what my thoughts are gonna be the second time. Maybe I'll enjoy it more. Who knows? So recently I've been reading The Wandering Inn by Pirate Abba, which if you don't know, The Wandering Inn is this incredible web novel series. It is longer than the Game of Thrones and the Wheel of Time combined. Yeah, it's very long, but it is consistently good. And it has a lot of great like slice of life moments in it as well. I'm enjoying it so much, but Pirate Abba is also releasing a brand new novel called Gravesong on April 30th. And Podium, the lit RPG RPG publisher sent me this vinyl, which is an original song from the audiobook. And this is a fully produced song. They're only giving away 10 of these exclusive limited edition vinyls, so I feel so lucky to have this in my possession, especially since they contacted me at the perfect time. Like, I've been really enjoying The Wandering Inn, and I just happened to be contacted by the publisher wanting to send me this, so I feel like it was made to be. I'm very excited to listen to Gravesong as well, especially since The Wandering Inn is just so good, so much quality. I'm excited to give this one a listen as well, and I'll have to give you guys my thoughts on Gravesong as soon as I get to it. And literally 10 minutes before I was gonna film this, I got a knock on the door, and it looks like I have another box. It says from the Wandering Inn store, so I have no idea what they sent me this time, but we're gonna find out. Ooh, very cool. I am so lucky that I didn't film this yet, and I just happened to get the knock on the door right beforehand. Ooh, okay, I'm liking the artwork here. I'm really liking the promotion for Gravesong. I can't wait to give this book a listen. I go by the rule that you can never have enough mugs. I'm always happy to get a new mug. The Singer of Terrandria. And then on the back here, it says Singer Class Obtained. And it looks like we also have... And we also got a hat. Very cool. Oh, we also got some stickers at the bottom here, it looks like. I love the artwork. I am really excited to read Gravesong now. If you want to join the giveaway for the vinyl, it's open from April 15th to the 29th, so there's not a whole lot of time left, but make sure to use the link. I will have it in the description so you can join that giveaway. Huge thank you to Podium for sending all this incredible stuff. And of course, make sure to check out Gravesong, which will be up on Audible on April 30th. Now, to get back to you guys, I'm actually going to be giving away this box of merchandise, which includes the hat, the stickers, and the mug. All you have to do is comment below that you want to join the giveaway for the merch, and I'll choose one lucky winner. Now, one of the best books that I finished recently, it's one of the best books I read this year actually, is The Book That Wouldn't Burn by Mark Lawrence. And this is book 1 in Mark Lawrence's new library series, and I gotta say, like, this is unlike anything else I've read. It is so unique. Basically, you follow a boy that has spent his whole life trapped inside of this ancient and endless library. Then we also follow another protagonist named Lavira Page, who grows up in the dust outside of the city, where her small settlement is attacked by these wolf-like creatures, and their stories end up kind of connecting to each other. I feel like this is a good book where you don't want to know too much about it going into it, so I purposefully don't really want to say too much more. But it's one that I stayed up late into the night reading. It is just so fascinating, and once things get going, it doesn't stop. I especially really love Lavira's character. I can't wait to see where she goes in the second book. And speaking of the second book, which recently came out, I think it was on April 17th, I could be wrong, but The Book That Broke the World. I want to start this very, very soon. Also, huge shout out to my top tier patron, Mike Baker, who sent me both of these. Thank you so much, you're awesome, and I'm really excited to start this like right away because I still have the ending of the first book fresh in my head and I can't wait to see where things go. So yeah, I'm gonna be starting this one very soon. Gotta say, I love the cover on this. And speaking of Mark Lawrence, I have some really exciting news. After I spoke about The Book That Wouldn't Burn in a previous video, Mark reached out to me and he asked me if I want to be a judge for his SPFBO, which if you don't know is the official self-published fantasy blog off. And of course I said yes, I would love to be a judge because I have really been wanting to read more indie fantasy books and discover like more hidden gems. So I feel like this is the perfect opportunity. I know it's going to be a lot of work because I'm going to have to read a lot, but I'm super excited to find some excellent books that might have otherwise gone unnoticed and hopefully introduce you guys to a lot of great new books as well because I'm going to be reviewing a lot of these. Now, if you don't know SPFBO, basically it is 300 books, 10 judges, and 1 champion. And this is the 10th season of SPFBO, so I am really excited to be on the list of judges this year. Now, the judges include book bloggers and booktubers. There's myself, of course, then Fantasy Faction, Fan, Fantasy Book Critic, Lynn's Books plus The Critiquing Chemist, The Weatherwax Report, Before We Go Blog, Queen's Book Asylum, Philip Chase, Covers with Cassidy, and Kitty G Books. And basically each of the judges, I believe, were given like 25 to 30 books to go through, and then we pick one finalist to go through to the final. And then we all need to read the 9 finalists and choose our number 1 champion. And honestly, I think it is so cool that Mark Lawrence does this. It really helps put a spotlight on some indie authors that people might not have known about otherwise. And I'll show some of the finalists on the screen right now from previous years, but in 2020, we had The Lost War by Justin Lee Anderson. In 2019, The Sword of Kaigen, one of my favorite books by M.L. Wong. And in 2018, Orconomics by J. Zachary Pike. So many great authors, amazing stories have gotten more recognition from SPFBO. So I'm really excited to be a judge this year, and I have a lot of reading to do. I'm gonna be reading a lot of indie books, so I'll probably make some reviews and stuff for those as I'm making my way through them. Now, in a previous video, I mentioned how I read my first Stephen King book. I finished it in January, and that was The Shining, which I enjoyed a lot, and I'm excited to read a lot more King this year. The book that I finally decided to pick up next was The Stand. I'm about 60% through it right now, and I am enjoying it so much. This feels like an epic. It truly almost feels like an epic fantasy in a way. It is so good. Now, I am a little bit familiar with The Stand because I watched the 1990 adaptation, but I am so glad that I finally picked up the book. Just the part where like the disease is breaking out and it's spreading, and that whole compilation of events that happens is written so well, and it was just so immersive. I couldn't imagine like reading The Stand during the pandemic. That would have been pretty freaky, to be honest. Let me know if you did that, actually. I don't know if that would have been a good idea or a bad idea. I mean, you would feel very immersed, but you'd probably get even more scared. If you have no idea what The Stand is about, I'm sure most of you know, but it basically the US government like bioengineered this weapon, this powerful virus that people call Captain Trips, and it ends up getting out and like killing the majority of the population. And then the few surviving humans end up gathering into 2 different factions, which are basically led by the personifications of good versus evil, but it's not as simple as it seems. It's very complex. It's got a lot of different points of view. I'm really excited to share my full thoughts on it. I also need to share my thoughts on The Shining in a video soon as well. Another book I need to get to soon is The Daughter's War by Christopher Buehlman. This is the 2nd book in the Black Tongue Thief trilogy. I don't know what it's called, but I really need to get to this one soon as well because I really enjoyed the first book quite a bit. So I would like to read this one while the first one is still fresh in my mind. Oh, and another book that I almost forgot to mention that I just recently read was Sir Hereward and Mr. Fitz by Garth Nix. This is such a weird book. Garth Nix always writes such unique fantasy, and I feel like he needs to be treasured for that. People need to read more Garth Nix. This one I wouldn't necessarily recommend starting out of his other books. I'd recommend reading Sabriel, but Sir Hereward and Mr. Fitz, it was really enjoyable, but I was also hoping for a little bit more as far as certain stories go. Basically, it is a collection of these short stories that he wrote following 2 different characters. Sir Hereward is a knight and artillerist, and Fitz is this sorcerer puppet, and they're basically these mercenaries that go around hunting godlets, which are these extra-dimensional supernatural creatures. Obviously, the friendship between these 2 is the highlight of the story. I love the interactions between them. I think these stories are a lot of fun, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend reading the entire collection back to back. I feel like it's a great one where you can read like a few stories and then take a break and come back to it later to read the others. But I do really love the premise, and I feel like it is perfect for that kind of monster of the week type of story, and I want to make a full video talking about this book so I can share all my thoughts because I don't really see anybody talking about this book. Now, if I do get a bit of extra time, I would like to read Bloodline by Claudia Gray in honor of May the 4th. I always like to read like a few Star Wars books this month, and this is one that's been on my list for a long time, so I would really like to get to it this year. Moving on to some other channel updates, I do want to talk about the group vacation I am hosting with Trovatrip. If you guys don't know, I'm hosting a group vacation and we're all going to be traveling to Ireland together, and it's going to be so much fun. To me, this is really exciting because I actually get to meet some of you, and because like right now, there's kind of that, you know, YouTuber parasocial relationship. You guys have seen my face. I haven't seen any of yours. I don't know any of you. So I think it'll be so fun to actually like meet up, become friends, and go do this adventure together. We're gonna be going to see a castle in Ireland. We're gonna do the Ring of Kerry. We get a private tour of the Ring of Kerry, which is gonna be beautiful. We're also gonna go see some bookshops together and film a bookshop adventure together, which is gonna go up on the channel, which I think is going to be so much fun. Now, if you do want to join the vacation, there is still some early bird pricing available if you sign up using the link in the description, and there's only so many spots left. So if you're planning on going at all, then you should make sure to sign up. Now, full transparency, I do understand the trip is a little bit pricey because that price does not include your plane tickets at all. So I do understand if it's a little bit above the budget. I don't think anyone should go. If it's too far above your budget, then you don't need to go. I have talked to Trovatrip about this, and this is basically as low as it can go. So unfortunately, it is just expensive to travel to Europe and, you know, get food and get accommodation for a large group of people. But I do feel like there's a lot of value in traveling together as well. I mean, working with a company like Trovatrip, you don't have to plan any of your activities or your itinerary at all. They handle that. And then also we just get to, you know, hang out and become friends and go on an adventure together. So I think there's a lot of value in that. And I'm very, very excited for this trip. And I've always wanted to go to Ireland, and I really can't wait to go there with you. So make sure to check the link if you want to go on an adventure. And now for other channel updates, I am going to be making many more of my Cosmere classified videos. If you missed out on the first one, I made this big deep dive on the origins of the Cosmere. And basically my whole goal with this series is to make a very immersive experience. I've created my own character, this scholar slash world hopper named Nezrim, who's part of this secret organization of world hoppers. And the goal behind the videos is to initiate new agents into this organization of world hoppers. So if you watch Cosmere Classified, you must be a world hopper yourself because it is classified information. Anyways, I'm very excited to make many more of those. I actually want that to be kind of like a main series on the channel. And there are so many topics that I want to talk about. There's a few basic ones I need to make soon. I want to make a video on what is investiture. I also want to make a video on the 3 realms of the Cosmere. But yeah, thankfully Sanderson has written a lot of mystery and just interesting lore into the Cosmere, so there's a lot of stuff I can make videos on. I also recently did a big deep dive on Vin from the Mistborn books, and I want to make more character studies like that, one for Kelsier and Sazed, as well as some more characters maybe from the Stormlight archive as well. The channel is going to shift a little bit to focus on a lot of Cosmere lore videos, but I am also going to be making a lot of non-Cosmere content as well. As for Kingkiller videos, I am kind of taking a break from Kingkiller Chronicle content at the moment. I would like to make some other, you know, lore videos and stuff in the future. I know I need to finish my Wise Man's Fear in-depth summary. I've gotten so many comments about that. I will finish it at some point, but I just kind of need to take a bit of a break from the Kingkiller Chronicle to focus on some other stuff. Anyways, that's the update. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Also, let me know if you're reading any of the books that I'm currently reading, or if you have read them, or just let me know what you're currently reading. I would love to know. Anyways, huge thank you to all my patrons and my channel members for supporting the channel, and I'll see you soon.